Okay, Google, off.
Hi, I'm Sandra. I'm an occupational therapy student and amateur outdoors adventurer, and I'm recording little bits of my life to share with others, as well as to remember the good, the bad, and the even better moments. So stick around for some fun.
Hi, good morning. It is Wednesday, June 1st, and I do not work today, but I do have an exam today, so there's a lot to accomplish. So the way that my program is structured, we take 8 credits over the summer in the form of 6-week blocks. So I have 2 courses, and then I go on a 1-week field work where I'm in a setting. So my first block is in neuro rehab, where we're learning rehab specific to neuro impairments. First half of the class is very focused on acute issues. Stroke, brain injury, spinal cord injury are the most common. Or, I don't know why I put quotes, they are the most common. And then the second half of the course, to my understanding, I'm not there yet, is very focused on chronic neurodegenerative disease. So Parkinson's, MS. I guess I'll tell you more when I learn. So we have our midterm today. When we started this class 3 weeks ago, it really goes fast. So I'm taking mine at 11:30. My program is hybrid, so our lectures are online and our labs are in person. But with online lectures, we have online proctored exams. So we log into a software and someone watches us take the exam. Super creepy. It's essentially the same experience as being in a classroom. But the nice thing about it is you can schedule it to whenever you want. Normally I take them pretty early in the morning, but because I've been so busy, I'm working full time, I decided to take this one a little bit later in the morning. So at 11:30 I have my exam, and then after I'm done with my exam, I have lab at 2. So that's kind of the structure of my day. In order to prep for that exam this morning, I went through, we have a blueprint of the exam and where the exam's questions are coming from, and a lot of them actually come from 2 lectures. So I am going to watch those 2. I'm going to watch the one that I feel the least confident on. And I think that'll be helpful. And then I'll do my normal exam prep, which is around my flashcards, and then just reviewing anything that I feel like I don't know quite well enough yet. So that's the plan. Okay, Google, what time is it?
8:48 a.m.
So I have 2 hours, give or take a few. Let's do it. I can very quickly walk you through how I prep for exams so that you know how I got to this point of now I'm just reviewing. My biggest study tool that I use is a system called Anki. It's a spaced repetition software. So you can use pre-made decks, but for OT there's not a lot of pre-made decks of cards that are actually truly applicable. So I've just created all my cards based off of each lecture. Normally while I'm watching a lecture, I'll create cards with the information that I need to know from that lecture. And then it gives you a certain number of cards a day that you have to do, and then when you see a card you mark it based on your knowledge of that card. So you decide did I know this information? Do I need to see this information again? Did I know it well? Did I know it kind of? Based off how you felt about a card, it'll show you that card anywhere from within the next minute to in 14 days. So it helps you see information the right amount of times to actually learn it and be able to recall it, and you get to know how well you're recalling that information. So it's best used if you use it every single day, and a lot of people that I've talked to are told about it are oh, I don't like this. I think it's because it's super customizable. There's a bit of a learning curve to get into it, but it's the most helpful software ever for learning, period. So I do my Anki cards every day and I create them during lectures rather than take notes, which I guess it kind of is notes. Instead of taking notes during lectures, I just make cards and then I study whatever it tells me to study every day. And then a few days before the exam, I take that class and I create a custom study session with the entire deck of cards, and I go through the entire deck once a few days before the exam, and then again every single day until the exam, and then again on the day of the exam. So about, I would say like 4 days before I start doing the entire deck of cards. And then right before the exam, I review the entire deck. So that's how I study like nitty gritty information, teeny weeny information. And then a few days before the exam, I also go through every single lecture and just pull out the big picture stuff. For example, we have to know a few scales of how you would document how a patient's doing. For example, like the Brunstrom scale is a measure of upper extremity function, give or take. So I know that I have to know, okay, if someone said this person is a Brunstrom stage 6, what would that mean? Oh, it means that they're close to normal function. Okay. We have a lot of examples of like patient cases that we use for other assignments, and a lot of times I'll go into those patient cases and use the new terminology that we learn for documentation and assessment and intervention and see if I can apply it to those cases in any way. So first semester we had a case where a person had limited upper extremity function, and so I tried to see with that information where would they fall on the fuel or the Brunstrom scale, because those are two new scales to us. I try to apply as much information as possible because that's like what I really need the information for, is to apply it. Sure, it'll help me on the exam a little bit. It might just help me to memorize the information, but it's going to be more helpful when I go out on my fieldworks if I actually know how to apply all of the things that we learn. So yeah, I try to use case studies and then my flashcards, and that has served me well so far. Normally they give us a study guide as well, and I mean our study guides are like just the session objectives written out, so it's helpful to look through those and just make sure that I recognize everything that's on those. That's what I've been doing up to this point, and now I'm just reviewing flashcards while listening to the lecture that a lot of information is going to be pulled from, and I feel pretty good. But who knows? You never know. While my coffee brews, I'm gonna check on my plants in my garden. It snowed and killed all of my flowers, so that's unfortunate, but they seem to be recovering. Oh boy. This little guy, he's teeny weeny. Do you know what that leaf is? That should be cantaloupe. And then I'm gonna have to thin these guys, but we got zucchini. Yay! That's the baby garden. The big garden is at Jake's. So next time I'm up there, I'll show you around. That pour is called an Amy pour, after my friend's mom, who always filled her cup all the way to the very top with coffee. Cheers. I am pretty much done reviewing for this exam. It is 10:54, so I have about 20 minutes until I need to log on. So I figured I'd go through my to-do list for the day and see where we're at. So I'm not gonna check off cleaning my room just because I don't count that done until my bed is made, but I did wash my sheets. They're in the dryer right now, so we'll get rid of that. Exam review, done. Submitted my lab worksheet, that's done. And then since I have 20 minutes and I don't really want to like start another task, I'm just gonna kind of do my budget right now for the month of June and make sure that we're gonna be in a good place for that. So yeah, I'm just gonna spend the next 20 minutes doing that. Okay, it's time. Wish me luck. I'm done and hungry, and we'll debrief after lunch. For lunch, we have an entirely not appetizing but completely delicious bowl of zoodles and mac and cheese. Finished my exam. It was exactly what I expected. The one thing I don't like is our exams are multiple choice, just because that's easiest for the professors to grade 200 exams. But like sometimes they'll provide a case and then it'll be like, okay, which intervention is best? And it's hard because you're not standing in front of the client. Like, I'm such a people person that I'm like, I know what they're trying to get at with the it's best. So like I still can answer the question, but I'm like, oh man, I don't know what motivates this client. Like, are they motivated by making things gamified? So having like a competitive aspect, and then it's easier to make a certain intervention more competitive than another intervention, even though the other intervention is hypothetically best for like dealing with their impairments. So yeah, like obviously the question is what's best for dealing with the impairment on a textbook basis, but my brain is so like client-centered. What are they going to get the most out of, and like have the most buy-in for, which is then the best because it gets them further in treatment. Like if you have a client that has no buy-in for one approach, even though that's the best approach to help them deal with their impairments, and get them back to like participating in things every day, if they don't want to do that, they're not going to do any home exercise programs. They're not going to be super engaged in therapy, and then they're going to walk away without like many gains. Whereas if you have something that's maybe not the absolute best to deal with their impairments, but it addresses them and they freaking love it, like they're going to make 5 steps further. So I don't like those questions because I'm like, well, what do they like? What are they trying to do? What are their goals? Yeah, I don't know. So those are hard, but then I'm always able to go back and be like, okay, these are the impairments that we're addressing, blah, blah, blah. But I'm really excited to be in like actual practice and have the more complex, like deciding if it's best situations. And I'm gonna suck at it, but I'm really excited to like get to do that rather than a multiple choice question. So yeah, it went well. I'm happy with my results. I'm gonna have about an hour of downtime, which I'm gonna use to work out, and I'm gonna watch some Suits and work out and eat lunch and then head to lab at 2 this afternoon. I just finished lab. It is 6 o'clock on the dot and I am tired and ready to go home and get some dinner. So it was long, and honestly it was interesting, but not like that interesting, to be honest. So yeah. So I got back from lab and we walked down to the library to return a book. The last thing on my to-do list is that we have a skills check tomorrow. So I'm just gonna run over those skills. My number one life tip for OT school is make sure that you have a person accessible at all times, so that you can practice your skills on them. So I'm gonna do that on Jake right now and then wind down and go to bed. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about OT school or occupational therapy in general, feel free to ask them, and I'll see you guys next week.